I think we're in. I think we're live. Dixon, it's
Pep,
been a
pep,
while. How's it going, my friend?
it's going well. I know it has been a while. I'm looking forward to getting back in the saddle, and I think
Yes.
we have a good one to do it with today. A very socially important and with broad ramifications for every segment
Yeah,
of society. I think most especially it's the way that this affects the children. That is
it
is
is. I'm worried about Apple and I don't know what's the other child's name? Apple and Macintosh, or I don't know what the other one
oh,
is.
her kids. Oh, I
Apple
don't
is the
even.
one. So this was in
Oh,
2016. So yeah, we've been out, and we thought Dix and I have had issues with time, and some of these true crime cases require a lot of research to be able to present something that we're happy with. And this is a little bit more relaxed. We're going to watch the cross examination. I think I'm going to play 15 minutes of the Gwyneth Paltrow cross examination, and then the chef's kiss is the cross examination of Terry Sanderson, the gentleman who is suing Gwyneth Paltrow for what was at 1.3 million pounds or dollars, is $300,000. Gwyneth Paltrow is countersuing for $1, which I guess is a move of principle. Now, a few things I want to discount in case you're not aware, Dixon. There are a few kind of witnesses, one of which is a gentleman by the name of, I think it's Craig Robson. Might have gotten the name wrong. He witnessed it, kind of. So the only evidence we really have of what he said was he saw somebody crash into Terry Sanderson. There was a message that was uncovered shortly after the accident where he said, Scott, the thing you did not see was Terry was knocked out cold. Bad hit to the head. Not too sure if Terry has broken ribs. I did see the hit. Terry did not know his name. I asked Terry what his name was, and he did not know. Scott, it scared the hell out of me. The other witness is the ski instructor. So whilst Gwyneth Paltrow was going downhill with her children, according to her left with the ski instructor saw him coming from the top. So where I think Craig Robson saw him at the moment of impact, whether that was him or her, the ski instructor saw this gentleman skiing uphill. Now that's important because when you're an uphill skier, and I'm not a skier, apparently the right of way is to the downhill skier. So it's almost like driving. If you rear end somebody, it's entirely your fault. And the ski instructor, who'd been working for the resort for 40 years, and this is a quite posh ski resort, so there's high standards for these ski instructors. So he should be pretty good at identifying things. And as somebody who's teaching two children at the time, I think were 8 and 10, to ski, he was probably scanning the slopes looking for people uphill, and said this skier was very good. He was on his edges, I think, and for when you're on your edges, I think that indicates that you're not just going down snowplow style. You're actually leaning into your turns, and that would indicate he was going quite quick. Now, what Mr. Sanderson contends is he was just doodling down the right side, and out of nowhere, Gwyneth Paltrow slammed into him. And Gwyneth Paltrow says she was slammed in from behind. Now, the crux of this case, and I don't know if you're aware, Terry is suing because he has had untold damage that has
oh
changed his
yes.
life. It's just he is done for. He mentally it's broken his brain, and he can't do what he wants
Can
to
you
do. So
can you imagine if this guy were your doctor and this is what broke his brain? I
this
that's one of the things
I
because
think
he or not. He's a doctor. I mean, he's a dentist, right?
he's an
No, no. He's a,
ophthalmologist. I think.
he's an no. He's an that's it. He's an optometrist, specifically not an ophthalmologist.
Oh, so he
In other
works at like
words,
what we would call spec savers over here. He just does the eye test and then eyes up your glasses.
correct. So I mean, but even so, I don't know about trust. Like if somebody is just this mentally broken by, Gwyneth Paltrow, that
It,
I would want to trust them with anything having to do with my health. But go on.
Well, there was one thing I did read that was interesting, just to kind of go with the evidence. Is there was a doctor that Gwyneth
Okay.
Paltrow's team called who looked at brain scans before and after the accident. And actually, the brain scans before the accident looked worse than the brain scans after the accident. And according to Gwyneth Paltrow's doctor, keep in mind you can get a doctor to say anything on the stand. He had
Mhm.
said that actually there was no view in the scan of any sort of damage that would cause any impact to his life and well-being, which we're going to delve into that with the cross-examination because they do discuss it. But what I want to do is I want to play this batshit crazy cross-examination from the prosecuting attorney. it's weird. The only thing, have you seen any of this, Dixon?
I have not. I've heard about it. I mean, maybe a little snippet here or there,
It
on a passing news source. But you know what? Once I knew we were doing this, I felt like let me come in and just react to what I'm
mm,
seeing specifically here.
I pay attention to the behavior of the prosecuting attorney. It's very weird. It's almost as if she is. I think she's starstruck. I think she's trying to make friends here.
And I have
But
I have heard that, so I'm curious to see.
it's weak. So here we go. Let me know if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
You were going along relatively slowly. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of ask you a couple
Sure.
questions. So let me know if anything I say is not accurate. Okay.
Okay.
So you're going down relatively
It's like she's going for a Yelp review as an attorney. Just wants to make sure the customer service is spot on at this stage.
slowly.
Well, so far she's not bothering me at this point. I mean, listen, if you have a witness who's inclined to be hostile, you're not going to do yourself any favors. I've done some litigating and practice litigations, and even though I'm not an attorney, and at the beginning, especially with a witness who you expect to be hostile, you want to get them comfortable in talking, and
You
you're
want
not
to
going
get them
to
on
do
side. Yes.
that, right?
Yeah, and I
So
get that. I think that's what happens in most interrogations. You want them to be open and honest with you, and if you're treating them as a hostile witness, there's
right,
this happens even in customer service and in sales. You want them on side, and you want them sort of working as a friend. I think what'll happen is this is a bit over the top as it continues. And by the way, I
sure.
didn't know we had an expert on the panel. Holy shit! That would be
Oh,
you, my
yes, me.
friend.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I forgot. Yes, I'm an expert. Yes,
yeah,
well,
clearly.
I'll
All
tell
of
you.
a
You know what?
sudden,
I went to a prestigious law school. It's called Law and Order. I've watched it, religiously for
Yeah.
years and years and years. And you laugh, but realistically, the first time I was in a training, uh, because at a previous job we could be trained as litigators in arbitrations, which
Mm.
is effectively like being an attorney. And so, I just took all of that Law and Order I'd watched over the years, my basic understanding of the legal process and prep questions, and then blah blah blah. I did, and we had to do it live in front of an attorney. And the attorney at the end said, "I can't believe how good you were."
Law and
I was
order,
like,
baby.
"Yeah, there you go." So Law and Order, there is. I didn't waste my life. Go
you
on.
heard a strange rustling noise behind you.
Yes.
Okay. And you felt like a rush of air in a strange way.
Yes.
Okay. And two skis slid in between my skis.
That's correct.
And all of a sudden, there was a body from the whole front of a body pressing into my back.
It's getting kind of hot. This doesn't sound like a
Yeah.
ski incident.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. No.
Like, we'll talk about this in a minute. And there was a man behind me pressing into me. How did you know it was a man?
Because he was making some strange noises that sounded male, and he was large. So I assumed it was a male.
Okay, he was large.
I felt all my back
Okay,
pressing.
okay. All right, there was a man pressing
Yeah.
behind
So
me, pressing
far-
into me. I was extremely
Stop
upset.
pausing. Stop pausing. Not pausing.
Well,
So far.
So far, if we just played this without any other context,
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm thinking we might be pushing towards an NC-17 rating. Anyway, go on.
Yes, yeah. And you know what? There's a comment they're going to reference from the deposition that even hammers home that analogous situation.
I was confused at first, and I didn't know exactly what was happening. It's a very strange thing to happen on a ski slope. And then
I agree.
I froze, and I would say I got very upset a couple seconds later.
Okay. Let me just continue on here. I just wanted to make sure that I got this all right.
So I'm guessing the whole purpose of this is to bring the deposition to light. So that's the official evidentiary statements they already have. It's just going through those, making sure the jury is aware of those statements. And I would expect at this stage, this is where they're trying to establish her testimony so they can what's the word I'm looking for? contradict it. That's not the right word, but so they can poke holes
Well,
in
they
it
have to get in
effectively.
it. Yeah, they've got to get her version of events, and
Yeah.
then
Didn't
once they're laid out, yeah.
know if it was an intentional assault of a sexual nature.
Right.
Okay. Was he grinding and thrusting or something, or just the noises? What made you think it was a sex?
This is like I if I'm in the jury, I know it's a ski accident. It was a crash, and this is just like, to me, this seems like somebody's playing a practical joke at this stage already. Was he bumping
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's
grinding up
almost like
against you?
feels like the questions were written by Howard Stern.
Yeah, this is an SNL skit already.
Sexual assault.
Right.
So that was a quick thought that went through my head.
Go back.
Thrusting or something,
Listen to
or
what
just
she
the
says.
noises? What made you think it was a sexual assault?
So that was
Oh,
a
so
quick
wait a
thought.
So she said her first thought, and I think we talked over that. Her first thought was, "Is somebody assaulting me?" And that was, in the way she's going to describe this. I'm going to put this into context because I think she is a good witness for the, Gwyneth Paltrow, for all of her batshit crazy, business goop shit that she does. She's not dumb. And she's explaining in her deposition. She was giving a very honest representation of what was going through her mind, and what she's going to say is, the first thing I thought is this a sexual assault because somebody was pressing up against me, and she said that was my split second reaction. So you know how you do when you get in an accident, your brain automatically is trying to quantify what that is, and she's talking about the first thought that triggered into her head, according to her.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the source of the question was Gwyneth Paltrow's own testimony. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
why I wanted to make sure that was clear there.
That went through my head when I was trying to reconcile what was happening. I was skiing and two skis came between my skis, forcing my legs apart. And then there was a body pressing against me and there was a very strange grunting noise. So my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. I thought, is this a practical joke? Is someone like doing something perverted? This is really, really strange. My mind was going very, very quickly and I was trying to ascertain what was happening.
Okay. I think you said, I didn't know if it was an accident, but he was groaning and grunting in a very disturbing way.
Yes, there was a sort of groan coming out of his mouth.
Okay. Then you said, I froze.
Yes.
We kept skiing.
Right.
We went to the right.
Yes.
We came crashing down together.
That's right.
Okay. You said this man was behind me on the mountain. My knee and our skis were still sort of tangled up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is that yes?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Our bodies were almost spooning and I moved away quickly.
Yes.
And my knee splayed open and I was completely in shock.
Yes.
It's almost like qualifies when I was in elementary school. First base. I would say this is close to first base. Easily.
What kind of elementary school did you go to? I mean, I feel like first base was always, the French kiss.
Yeah, but spooning would be, I think, a step behind French kissing.
Yeah, but spooning was not one of the bases. Spooning was like, you put the ball in play.
Well, I think when you're a young guy bragging, you're trying to find anything to qualify as first base.
Oh, well, maybe so. Yeah. Maybe so.
They were spooning.
I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
And if the court and Ms. Paltrow, if you don't mind, since again, when we did this over Zoom, would you mind stepping down and us kind of acting this out a little bit so I could get a good feel?
Let's see. Can we approach Your Honor?
Sure. Now I'm going to skip ahead. I want to point out that we haven't played the prosecution's examination. They had, which it doesn't cost a lot of money to do this. They had a digital reenactment, a video that actually digitally shows the ski, the accident. This is the path. Sorry, not the prosecution, but the defense.
Plaintiff.
Yeah.
Well, the plaintiff and the defense in a civil action.
And it's not as if Terry Sanderson is a poor guy who can't afford good, appreciate that she's got money and they can afford a digital reenactment. But I work in IT. It's not that hard to create a physical represent. I mean, hell, whiteboard would be better than what they're going to do here in a minute. What's happening is she's asking permission for Gwyneth Paltrow to come down so they can spoon and they can see what that spooning looks like.
Yes, and I've heard Gwyneth Paltrow's attorney object, which he absolutely should. But here we go.
So I'm going to fast forward here. So after all of this discussion, the prosecution is going to go ahead and give something a go.
Actually, let's just get a sustained.
Yeah, the objection was sustained as requested, but you're welcome to move around the courtroom.
Wonderful, thank you. Do you have a microphone? Yes.
This is her Perry Mason moment, and this is the thing in her head the night before that looks
Testing.
so much better in her imagination.
Okay, Ms. Paltrow, so your counsel doesn't want you to come down, so I'm not
Your
going to ask
Honor,
you to come down.
that's inappropriate. The judge sustained the objection, so she shouldn't comment on what I want. It's what the judge wants.
The objection was sustained.
I am going to try and be both you and
The judge looks like he's trying to suppress a
At the same
laugh. He
time.
really does.
This is a joke.
I mean, look at him. He's got his hand in front of his face.
That's
Like,
It's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're still gonna do this. What are you
I
gonna,
get-
because there's a deposition. Use a
I'd be sitting there
whiteboard.
thinking to him, I'm sitting there if I'm him thinking, this is my job. This is my actual job. I'm getting
So-
paid good money for this.
This is better. This here, this is Gwyneth. This is Terry right here. That is so much better than what they're about to do. Drawing it out.
He's probably got a grandfather who cracked rocks for a living in some mine someplace.
I don't want to. We're not going to
This is what
reenact
he
what
gets.
happened. I think you can ask questions, and
Yes.
if you want to stand and move around in order to help
Perfect.
you with those questions, you can do that. But that's as far as we're going to go.
that's not a problem at all. All right, so since you're not down here, may I ask how tall you are?
I'm just under 5'10".
Okay, I am so jealous.
I think
'cause
I'm shrinking though.
you and me both. I have to wear 4-inch heels just to make it to 5'5".
Wow,
So
they're very nice.
well, thank you. So, all right. So, as of right now,
I mean, it is over the top. The bonding with the witness to get her to be open and honest. It's
Mhm.
borderline. What's the word? She's fangirling big time here.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Okay. I'm skiing down. Can you tell me with my legs? I don't know. Again, I'm not much of a skier. Are you snow plowing? Are you parallel? Kind of orient my legs first of all.
And that's
Sorry.
Terry back there.
I
in the
can do
corner
this. I can do this.
Not snow plowing, just
Okay.
skis.
All right.
It's hard for me to see where you're standing.
May she come down just to
See, it looks like Gwyneth Paltrow is trying to keep her shit together and remain a professional witness as well.
Yes.
see?
You can.
Is that
walk forward,
okay?
You can see better. You can walk further forward, Ms. Van
Oh,
Orn.
sure.
I'd love to see that.
Great. No problem. All right. So,
The jury, you can go ahead and stand or move wherever you feel you need to see what's going on here.
So I don't know anything about litigating in a courtroom, but to me this looks like what they're doing has not been rehearsed or practiced, and they're just sort of making it up as they go. And if you're
Well,
at that
I mean, you
point, I
don't
think you
get-
kind of abandon that strategy if you don't know where you're going with this.
For sure. I mean, the plaintiff's attorney, of course, hasn't had this kind of access and wouldn't have this kind of access to the defendant prior to the action. You do your depositions. She might have run through this exercise during a deposition, but I guess she didn't. So to a degree, it is what it is. But on the other hand, I would say, I mean, this is the oldest lawyer thing in the book. You never ask a question to which you do
don't know
not
the
know
answer.
the answer.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Even this whole thing about her moving. Okay, well, I'll move forward, and then the main attorney for her team has said, "Well, wait, the jury can't see you." So now they're stuck in this no man's land of trying to facilitate Gwyneth Paltrow being able to see them and the jury. And I would expect the jury are probably getting a bit impatient with this because they just, they don't know where this is going.
I'm already irritated, and I've got a question for you. What I'm wondering is these people in the gallery. I assume this is not open, because if it were open, it would be absolutely full to the brim because it's Gwyneth
Yeah,
Paltrow. So what do they
probably.
have, a lottery to let people in? Like, who
I
are
would
those
expect
people?
so. There isn't a lot of people. There's still masks being worn occasionally. So I don't know if courtrooms, I know hospitals still in the US are there's some mask guidelines. So I wonder if they do limit the numbers that are allowed into the courtroom as well, given there is
Possible.
still a COVID thing going on.
all right. So, are my feet oriented correctly?
Yes.
Go ahead and tell me how to move them.
I think, skiing down, going to the right.
Okay, so
Okay,
about,
probably a little bit further apart.
okay, about like that.
And then 2 skis slide slowly between my skis.
All right, so my feet are about, what, a foot apart? Would you say 18 inches?
Probably.
Okay, and you believe that 2 skis slid right between?
That is correct.
Okay. And so all of a sudden you see these 2 skis coming in between your legs.
Yes.
I would have freaked out too.
And I did.
Okay.
So it's almost like she's working for Gwyneth Paltrow, trying to really support the story that she told in the deposition. There's not a lot of contention. So the 2 ski, oh, that sounds like it's very difficult for you. There's not a lot of argument going on against her sort of deposition. We're still building this case, but if anything, as an outsider, I'm starting to go, yeah, it sounds like he slammed into the back of her. This is the story we're reenacting. Okay, so this seems a bit more cut and dried to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the skis are coming. How far did the skis get in between your legs before you guys fell?
His body pressed up into my back.
Okay.
So I froze. I don't know exactly how far the skis would have come through.
Okay.
Because then I noticed his body pressing against my back.
Okay.
And then it was probably a few good seconds. And then we fell to the right. Somebody must have caught an edge.
Okay. So when you froze and you're skiing together, I think you said at one point it was like you were spooning.
Well, when we fell down, I fell on his body. He fell on the ground. And so it was kind of like a spoon on the ground.
Okay. So
Your Honor, the defendant has come into
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah, you're sure
Go
too.
back, because I'm still trying to picture which one of them was skiing uphill. He was, right?
So uphill, what that means is he is at the top of the hill coming down, so he can see everything.
Oh.
So according to the Eric Christensen, the ski instructor, he noted Terry Sanderson skiing downhill whilst the lesson was going on, whilst Gwyneth Paltrow was off to his right, and he was carving, on his edges. So it meant he was moving at a good rate, but looked like a very competent skier, somebody who does do quite a bit of skiing. So what Gwyneth Paltrow's testimony is, she's skiing and pretty much he crashes in the back of her. Skis come through the back, and that's
Right.
what they're going through the difference.
Well, see, I think what her attorney is going for here, I mean, the theory of the case has to be, it's not that Gwyneth Paltrow is evil or was, it's an accident. No matter which way you slice it, it's an accident. But the question boils down to who had the right of way, as you said earlier. And if she was doing something on the hill, I mean, I'm not sure why it's really that necessary to get into the details. It sounds like, I have to look at the whole thing. Is there a point of contention about exactly how they collided, or is the sole point of contention, was she not where she was supposed to be, or is he doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think they need to stay away from that, because there's more witness testimony that he was the uphill skier, or the one that was coming, who had the better view.
Right. So he's supposed to be able to ski and avoid.
You know what I think they're doing? Because she's talking about where she's falling, what direction. I wonder if she's trying to get Gwyneth Paltrow to admit that she landed on Terry Sanderson's back, because she's talking about what direction she went down. And I wonder if her thing is, okay, well, if you landed on the back of Terry Sanderson, clearly you crashed into him and he couldn't have crashed into you. So I'm wondering if that's the direction they're going with this.
All right.
Let's see where it goes.
well, now that Mr. Sanderson is here, and I don't need you to do anything,
Why are you bringing him up?
Terry, but just for comparison's sake, I'm in my heels. We're about the same height, about 5'5" with heels.
She's going to talk about height again.
Oh, tell me I'm taller, please. Okay, so we've got Mr. Sanderson that's about 5'5" that comes in back of you, and you said that you felt something huge. What was your word
No,
behind
just
you?
a bit.
Do you think Terry Sanderson's looking for a high five right now? Felt something huge? Yes, she did.
Big,
Oh shit, that's gonna lose me the case. No, wasn't me.
Body.
a big body. All right. And was it just the front of his body that touched the back of your body?
I couldn't see in the back of my head,
Sure.
but I felt a body
Right.
press against my back.
But there was no grabbing, like nobody that he didn't like grab your waist.
If I'm on the jury, I'm thinking, yes, we've established this. He didn't grab. He was in the back. I get how this. I understand.
If he were
obviously.
grabbing or something like that, this would be a criminal action.
It
you
would-
know what I
it would
mean?
certainly
Like,
be.
I'm
He's
not sure what the
getting
point
the-
of that question is. Like, what is she
getting him
trying
in
to
trouble.
prove?
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
My
No.
client's not a pervert. Okay, good. Moving on.
We've established it. We've established that she believes, and they aren't even making a point to say. So, based on your testimony, what you believe to be the case. I mean, I would be thinking they should be differentiating that as not. They're almost the way they're going about this is. So this is what happened next. Not this is your contention. Using those type of words to differentiate that from what they're saying the truth is. And for me, I'm getting sort of down this rabbit hole that the attorney here is supporting the story of Gwyneth Paltrow right now because they're not contending anything.
Like that.
Nothing.
Okay. All right. So skis slide between, you kind of freeze, you end up, maybe your skis kind of cross, you end up going down. Would you agree that Mr. Sanderson fell to the ground and then you fell on top?
Yeah, see, there it is.
I don't know if it was simultaneous.
Mr. Sanderson fell to the ground and then you fell on top. If she admits that she fell on top of him, then there's some doubt in her story. That's got to be it. Because if she skied into him, then she would potentially fall on, not definitely, but she would. I think that's what this attorney's trying to establish. I think this is the path they're taking Gwyneth Paltrow down. Just say I'm right.
No, I'm thinking about. I'm thinking you're probably right. At least that's their theory. I just don't know how. I don't know how convincing that theory is. I don't know that who fell on top of who does not prove who collided with whom.
They're grasping at straws is what it comes across as a bit, if that is the case.
Right. Anyway.
Simultaneous. I don't remember.
But you didn't fall and hit the ground, correct?
I don't remember exactly where I hit.
I think she knows
but
that's what she's
I
trying
fell
to get
over.
Gwyneth
All right.
Paltrow.
And
with Mr. Sanderson.
right. And Mr. Sanderson fell and hit the ground.
We're
Yes.
specific in her language. And Mr. Sanderson hit the ground. And that was an absolute waste of time. We're going to move on to the cross of Terry in a bit, but I just wanted to establish the batshit crazy.
All right.
This encompasses the best testimony
Going back
for
here,
the defense or for the prosecution. Really,
you guys are on the ground. Now you realize, right? You're not saying to the jury that this was in any way, shape, or form a sexual assault.
I am not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying what went through my mind for a split second when it was happening.
so I want to take time out of the court's day to establish that this accidental ski crash is not a sexual assault. Are we all okay with that for the fourth time?
Right. I mean, yes.
What are we doing here?
All right, great. So you're down on the ground, and then you started yelling at him.
I don't remember if I started yelling at him while I was on the ground. I remember pushing away because I was very upset and it was still very strange to me what had happened. And I pushed down the hill and I turned around and I yelled at him.
Okay. Did you scream before you went down?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think she knows the answers to these questions.
Well, let's keep going. I want to see where she's going.
If others heard a scream, you wouldn't, that wasn't you.
No, I froze. When he slid between my skis, I absolutely froze.
Oh,
I don't
stop right
remember.
there.
So what do you think this is?
Well, you see, her contention continues to be that that's what this is all about. Sanderson is his name.
Yeah, Terry Sanderson.
If Sanderson plowed into her while she's facing away from him, then he doesn't really have much of a case. Like, she can't see him, and she might be in the wrong place, But on the other hand, he is as already the person coming down the hill. And if he can see that she's faced in the wrong direction, like herself going down the hill, maybe the onus is on him to avoid her. However, if she was facing back up the hill and could see him, then maybe she has more responsibility when he's coming down and she's maybe more of at a standstill and she sees him coming at her, that she has more obligation to get out of his way or do something to avoid the collision.
Meaning the scream.
And if she screamed, she
her
could only have
reacting.
screamed because she saw him. Like, that's why she's
Mhm.
asking, did you scream before the collision? And if witnesses said they heard you scream before the collision, because there's only one way you could scream before the collision, that's if you know it's coming. And if you knew it was coming, it's because you saw him, is going to be her contention.
That's so
And that means
tenuous, though,
she's,
isn't it?
well, I mean, I don't, the problem is I'm not an expert in ski etiquette.
No.
And I would still think it would depend to some degree on, just because even if I were Gwyneth Paltrow and I'm going downhill, I imagine it's, as you kind of said at the opening of this, it's like the highway, right?
The right of way is to the person in the front, effectively.
But you know, if you drive on the turnpike, the common sign, or, you know, I don't know if they have these over on the other side of the pond these days, but on the turnpike, occasionally you'll see, of course, you very often see the speed limit sign, but every so often they also give you the minimum speed.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go 25 on the turnpike, right? Because you are going to cause like, unless there's, you know, if there's traffic or something, but if it's a free open lane, you can't go 25 when the speed limit is 70, because that becomes a danger.
I think they're on the bunny slope, because that's her kids are practicing with a ski. Her young children are on
I
the
do
slope.
understand that it was a bunny slope. I heard about that. Yeah. I don't really know what that means, because I've never skied and I'm never going to ski, but
let's see where this goes, though.
Yelling or screaming until I was very angry at what had happened.
Okay. And so you guys are on the ground. And then you said to him, I think you don't know if you were up or if you were still on the ground, but he was still on the ground, right?
Yes.
When you said, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
Okay. Like, why did you do that?
Yes.
And he said, "I think you skied into me."
Yes.
And that's when you were furious and said, "You skied directly into my effing back at the top of your lungs."
Yes, I did.
So this, again, they're still not saying this is what you're contending. And if anything, this is leading me to believe that she was upset at him. Now, if you ski into somebody and you are at fault for hurting them, you're an experienced skier, I don't see you're going to get out of the car and start yelling at them saying, "What the F are you doing?" when you're the one that's skied into them. So if I was in the jury, I'd be thinking, okay, you're not saying this is a contentious thing. You're agreeing that this is her testimony, and
that's not how that works. I mean, what you're doing right now, if you're her attorney, is you're getting Gwyneth Paltrow to lay out her version of events.
But this isn't her attorney.
I understand. But I don't know, first of all, if her attorney put her on the stand, and even if he did, you're still going through, maybe there's things he didn't cover. You're trying to get her to be as specific as possible. Getting her to repeat herself is sometimes a worthwhile strategy, because if she repeats something incorrectly from the first time she said it, you might get her to, you know, make a mistake or change your story. But in any event, what you're doing is you're laying a foundation. Okay, here's Gwyneth Paltrow's narrative. And now, or the defendant's narrative. Now I'm going to put the plaintiff on the stand. And we're going to have the plaintiff, you know, or whatever witnesses I have, to try to, obviously debunk or put holes in that story. But the first step is you got to get her story out the way you want it, to your satisfaction. And that can certainly be the plaintiff attorney's job.
I don't disagree with that, but you did it when you were talking about it there. You said the plaintiff's narrative, or not the plaintiff, the defendant's narrative.
Right.
They're not referring to this at any point as a narrative, as your version of events in your opinion. And I think that's a powerful thing. If you're trying to, like, from a sales perspective, if you're trying to establish whether something is fact, or from, you know, whenever you're trying to deal with messaging, I think that's an important piece. Yes, you need to go through what her story is and what her contention is. But I think for the purpose of the jury, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so somebody could correct me on this, but I would be personally saying, okay, so the next thing you contend is, and in your deposition, your story was then, and then you're laying out what her position
I'm going to
is.
tell you why you wouldn't do that. Because if you ask the question, so Gwyneth Paltrow, so your contention is that this, and your
Yeah.
contention is that, and
Yeah.
you're alleging that this, and you're alleging that. Again, all of this is trying to get her to be as forthcoming and open as possible. How quickly? I mean, you're going to put her on the defensive because every time you use that word contend or allege, you're implying to her that she is being somewhat less than truthful.
But that
And
you
so
can
you
still
want,
do it, and not at no point have they done that. If you were to ask me, watching this as somebody who's not trained in law, if you were to ask me to listen to this, I
right.
would assume, if I didn't know who she was, this was Gwyneth Paltrow's attorney. The way they're revisiting these facts, because it's the way they're. It's almost the way these questions are being asked. They're supporting her story. There's nowhere where I'm starting to believe.
I think part of that is because, if you pulled it out of context, sure. But
Hmm.
in the courtroom, if you're the jury there for the entire case,
They
I
understand
really,
that.
I don't foresee, like, I certainly as a jury member would not be sitting there going, oh, you're getting her to lay out her version of events as thoroughly as possible so that you have everything that look at it this way. If I tell you a story, right, Sean, if I say, I went to the store, I bought some eggs, I came home, my wife was dead. Those are the 4 points I give you. What do you have? What do you have to, like? You have only 4 things that you can falsify. Did he go to the store? Yes. Here's my receipt. Did you buy eggs? Yes. They're on the receipt. Did I come home? Yes. My car was in the driveway. Was my wife dead when I arrived? Yes, she was. That's it.
But,
There's nothing else for you to
but
disrupt. The more points you get me to say, the more points that you have. Oh, really? You went to the store. What time was that? What time did you get to the store? Did you go down every aisle in the store? How long do you think you were in the store? Did you touch anything besides eggs? Did you talk to anybody? The more detail you have, the more things you now have to go back and say, because if I have an incorrect or lying or shown to be false, whether it's lying or whether it's faulty memory, either way, it plays to, that's what she's doing. She's getting as detailed a story as she can so that she has as many points as possible to knock the story down.
And I think I don't disagree with that. I think if we were to reference this, I'm not a fan of this, but I know that it's a practice used. NLP, for example, the use like a sales, like Wall Street type sales thing, where there's certain techniques you can use to win people over and influence people, such as giving them eye contact, mimicking them. And one of the things when you're trying to win somebody over to a narrative is repetition, repetition, repetition. Now, they have established that Gwyneth Paltrow's testimony is that he skied into your back. Now, they've said this. How many times do you think she has repeated that? So he skied into the attorney has repeated that to Gwyneth Paltrow. And how many times has Gwyneth Paltrow said he skied into my back? I would contend 15 times. And I would say that repetition, you're indirectly or subconsciously selling the jury on a narrative unconsciously, not with actually selling it to them. You're getting that repetitive ski into her back.
I don't disagree with you, Sean, but there's really only one way to know if this is a good strategy for the plaintiff or not, and that's really at the end, like when the whole procedure, when everything is completed. Because if you get her to repeat it 15 times, and then you can put your plaintiff on the stand and show that it couldn't possibly be the case, you've made her a liar 15 times, not once.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's a good point. Well, actually, this is a good time to switch to what I think is the more enjoyable testimony to watch. And I think it's quite cathartic because I think a lot of people would be a bit, I don't know, when you see this lawsuit, are you assuming Gwyneth Paltrow's in the wrong, or are you assuming this is somebody like you? What's your first inclination? Is this person trying to get a bit of money and capitalize on celebrity?
I'm going to follow the law. She is the defendant. The plaintiff has the burden of proof. So unless and until now, of course, in a civil case, the standard, I believe, is clear and convincing, or no, it's just the preponderance. It's preponderance of the evidence. So if it's more likely than not, but still, it is the plaintiff's burden to prove,
Yeah.
regardless of who the plaintiff is and who the defendant is. I mean, obviously, we all have those thoughts, and I'm certainly among them, that, oh, someone's suing a celebrity. Well, they see dollar signs in their eyes. Now, having said that, that's not always fair because, that cuts both ways, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're giving a celebrity the benefit of the doubt. Would we get, if this were just, person A and person B, would I think that were the case? Would I automatically sort of be disinclined to believe the plaintiff? But regardless of whether I would be or not, that is actually what the law requires. So I'll try to keep my mind in that mindset that the plaintiff, you got to show me what you're saying is true.
I struggled with that because I tried to have an open mind when I first watched this. Because if I had somebody, whether they were famous or not, ski into me and it changed my life, let's say they were definitely in the wrong. I'm not somebody I'm very forgiving. You'll
Yeah, me
probably
too.
back that
I'm
up.
not a lawsuit kind of person either.
But
And
if, let's
yes,
say,
you are.
I'm not, I'm not a
No,
lawsuit
you're
person.
very, no,
Yeah.
I'm saying you're very forgiving. I meant when you said, I'll back you up on that. Yes, you are a very forgiving person, as I am.
If you had, let's say you were partially paralyzed from an accident that wasn't your fault, that somebody accidentally, but let's say it was an accident. Let's say it was somebody with means and they didn't do anything to help with your expense, or at that point, I can see there's a few things that happen. One, it's easier to convince someone like you and I to take up a lawsuit. This Terry Sanderson guy, regardless of what his motivation is, I think you run into instances where you have a big name and you have attorneys who want to get this headline case, and they are going to sell him on that narrative of your life has changed. She needs to learn her lesson. We think this is a reasonable case. You need to look out for yourself. She's going back to her great life, and you're saying, and they're attorneys. They have to believe what he says to a degree. We want you to be compensated for the action she had that changed your life. And I think that is an easy narrative to sell somebody on.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, certainly. And yeah, the attorney's eyes light up just like the plaintiff's eyes. Maybe you could argue that I'm sure it is the case at times where the attorney's pushing the case more than the client.
Yeah.
Because they see not only the opportunity for the quick cash in on whatever, you got a wealthy plaintiff, you can, even if you just force them to settle, there's money to be had there, but then also obviously, that's the other thing. It's like this particular case, because, I'm going to tell you, I'm even more inclined to believe Gwyneth Paltrow probably, going in, and you really shouldn't do that, but because for her, this would be like under normal circumstances, you'd think to yourself, like, just throw the guy, you're loaded. Just throw him a few $100,000, make him go away. The fact that she's willing to put herself through this makes you think. Now, I mentioned Howard Stern earlier, and I listen to his show sometimes still. And he's very into, celebrity interviewing and stuff like that. And he raised the point, which is not unfair, that when was the last time you heard of Gwyneth Paltrow in a movie? That this isn't really hurting her career either. So now you have that piece to consider.
I will say, though, the way that she acts in the testimony, like even there's not a lot of concession she's making. Like if she was in the wrong, I think she'd be a little bit less hostile. Like she is a bit hostile. She's a bit sarky. And I think if she was trying to get one by, I think she'd be a bit more agreeable and less, there's a lot of people that watch this that commented she looked quite elitist in the way she gave her answers. And if, let's say, she's innocent and she's being put through this process and she's going through it, it's got to piss her off. This is a waste of her time, and she's done nothing wrong.
It's a nuisance lawsuit, from her perspective, especially. Well, I'm sure she thinks that regardless.
What we're about to watch is one of the most spectacular pieces of courtroom cross-examination I've seen, because it is. Keep in mind, this guy, his life has been inexorably changed for the rest of his life because of his brain injuries. He's forgetful. He doesn't know sort of what's going on. Now he just can't live the life that he wants, and that is the narrative that he has going into this.
Help you, God. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay.
Mr. Sanderson, we met before, we didn't finish, so we're trying to work our way in. I'm on a 30-minute clock, so I'm going to try to ask questions very directly and just have you say yes or no.
If I can, I will.
See, when I watch this, some of the smiling and the
He already looks like a
behavior,
horse's ass.
but it's, you know what it is like, even with the attorney, like he's going up, and it's got to be difficult for him if this accident changed his life forever, and he's being put through this ringer, like this whole thing. It just right away I look at this and I'm like, why are you happy about this? This is not easy.
Yeah.
It just makes me sort of question, like, that was the first thing I thought when I saw that.
Yeah,
Did
he's
you,
loving every minute of this.
Yeah.
Loving every minute of it. Clearly.
upon filing your lawsuit in a press conference, compare my client to King Kong coming out of the jungle? Yes or no?
That was not my intention.
Did you do that? Did I make up those words, or are those your words to the press?
I'm not sure, but probably sounds familiar.
Do you dispute it?
I dispute my intentions. That's all.
King Kong coming out of the jungle.
Press conference.
Pardon?
Press conference. I was pretty.
Did you say those words about my client?
I meant to say King Kong just chased someone out of the jungle.
Just take the loss. Say, yeah,
That's what I meant.
Did you refer to her as Godzilla to your daughter?
I did not. I don't remember that.
She testified to that.
Oh
Don't
God, just say
remember
yes
that.
then.
It's gone.
Yes,
Sorry.
I was pissed off. She ran into me.
You told everyone it was a hit and run, right? Wrote to your own hometown newspaper and said, she hit and ran me.
I did say that.
And that's been dismissed by this court. You understand that?
Yes, I guess so. Yes.
I want to talk.
He lost already.
This is
It's we talk about this being an and it is, no matter what. Let's say the attorneys genuinely believe he's in the wrong. This is his attorneys. This is their opportunity to make their name. And my first thought is they have not prepped him for even the first three questions at all, which you kind of could expect coming. He does not look ready for this.
Yeah, if he's going to be that terrible of a witness, I'm going to tell him before we even go up there, dude, you're going to. But I guess, you know what? I mean, from the attorney's perspective, in a sense, she doesn't care if she wins or loses because it's probably a loser. I mean, if you're prepping him, and I've done witness prep, you know when they're not any good. You know when it's going to be a disaster. Now,
So don't
in
waste
my
the
world,
time.
well, in my world, you're either in a situation where you've got no choice, you got to put them on and cross your fingers, or you make the decision, I'm not putting this person on.
Right.
In this world, this is like he's brought the case. It's his humiliation. I'm getting paid either way. So okay, buddy.
The only thing you have to do is not look like an absolute dick when you cross-examine Gwyneth Paltrow, and they've already taken an L there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all lost.
This is a D110. And do you see it on your screen, sir?
So these are Facebook pictures.
Yes.
They're going through.
Page 400.
Can you maybe enlarge the first half? Post-incident travel by Dr. Sanderson, Mr. Sanderson.
Post-incident travel.
Did you go to Peru
Yes.
after the collision? All of these are after the collision, okay?
Yes.
Visit Machu Picchu,
Costa Rica, yes.
walk the Golden Trail.
Yes.
Machu Picchu is in Peru.
Yes.
Floated down the Amazon.
Yes, I guess so.
By the way,
Costa
I'm gonna just pause
Rica.
for a second. I just want to show pictures of the Golden Trail, Machu Picchu. It's at elevation. It's not an easy walk. It's brilliant.
Walking with Pablo Neruda up there, eh?
This is the first. Oh man, the case is lost. Now.
Did you do a zip line?
Zip
Same
line.
trip, yes.
Did you go to Europe, visit Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland?
By the way, did you know about any of this, Dixon? Because I watched this briefly. This is when I said we need to talk about this.
No.
Enjoy.
Italy,
Don't let me-
France, Belgium.
just enjoy.
With my daughter, Jenny, yes.
Bottom half, James, please. Did you go to the Netherlands 3 times?
I don't remember.
Well, if you're disputing it, then we pull it out of your deposition.
I don't remember. I have no reason to dispute it or agree.
Okay, Morocco.
It's got to hurt his case because he remembered it in the deposition. And going
You
to
can't answer simple questions about, I mean, listen, think about if I'm a jury member, right? And we assume that these are just regular average citizens. Okay. You ask me, how many times have you been to Germany? And I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't remember. What?
Yeah,
What? You know what I mean? It's not like you go there for work every week. You're talking about fantastic trips. If I'm a juror, I'm like, what do you mean you don't remember how many times you went to the Netherlands for fun?
It's only that. Like he went to the Netherlands 3 times. I don't remember. And tell me about the accident. It was 22 degrees, and I was skiing down a 30-degree incline, and I was, and she came out of nowhere. The powder was soft. I remember very clearly. And then what about Germany? I might have gone there. Not 100% sure about Germany, but I remember the accident.
Twice. True.
Likely, very likely.
Canary Islands. I need to know if you're disputing these things.
I can't dispute it, no.
Thailand. Did you go to Thailand after the collision?
Yes,
Did you visit at least the states of Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Idaho after the collision?
probably, yes.
Probably.
If he had even an iota of self-respect, I think I would say, Your Honor, may I conference with my attorney and withdraw the suit right now? I mean, can you imagine being him right now? It's just like I'm being excoriated on national television. The whole country is watching this, and I am.
We would like to settle for bus fare. I would just like my bus fare home. That's all. Can you pay? Can you
You're not
validate
gonna
my
get it.
parking? Yeah, can you
Nope.
validate my parking?
Nope, not at all.
You're a Facebooker, right? At least you were at the time. You posted a lot on social media.
Relative to other people, it did seem like I did, very little.
All of these pictures are from your personal Facebook after the collision.
Okay,
I'd be curious if anybody's watched this, who's made it to this part of the recording. I'd be curious to find out if his attorneys at any point got out in front of this, if he was a prolific Facebooker traveling around, because that would be the first thing I would be looking at is, all right, this is a problem we're going to have to contend with. And if they haven't addressed this, it makes it even more devastating.
Let's go to number 47. And is there a way to enlarge it, James? Is this you doing a selfie in your backyard?
beautiful sunset, probably so.
Page 48, having a party in your backyard?
No, that was somebody else's party. I just dropped it. It was my renter's party,
If you can straighten it up.
Cinco de Mayo. And she wanted to use the back deck.
Remember Cinco de Mayo. He doesn't remember getting on a plane to the Netherlands.
And enlarge if you can. You went to a party in your backyard after the collision, true?
I just visited to make sure they had everything they needed.
Yes?
Yes.
Page,
Yeah, I'm not even then he could say I'm not dead. You know, I'm still trying to socialize with
this
people.
is less compelling to me.
But it's not easy. It's not hard for him to say, yeah, I'm not recluse. Just because I'm not living the life I had doesn't mean I'm not trying to live normally.
49, not very good quality. This is from you and your girlfriend at the time, smiling, true?
Yes, yes.
Next one, number 50. This is a picture of you and your girlfriend
Yes.
and smiling big, right?
Smile, camera.
Big,
Yep.
showing how happy
Next
he is.
one, 51. This is you and your girlfriend. Is that Southern Utah hiking?
I don't remember where.
Looks like you have one of those cool backpacks with water on. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
That's a clever thing for the defense attorney to bring up, because if he's got a Camelback on, he is hiked up a hill. He has brought a lot of water, and he looks like he's sweating. So they're saying, okay, you're physically doing a hell of a lot in that picture. You got a rock, you got a Camelback.
No, that's a better photograph, right? For
Yeah.
their purpose.
Next one, 52. This is you going on a hike, taking a picture of a moose, right?
Yes.
Nothing like fresh, cool air, a running brook, and easily entertained and hungry company.
This is 2016. This isn't that long after the accident.
That's your personal post. Is that true?
Yes. Definitely.
53. This is another picture of you on a hike. True?
Yes, trying out my camera saying smile.
Every one of these pictures is after the collision. Page
Yeah.
54. This is you and your girlfriend at the time. Is that true?
Yes.
You look pretty happy. You agree?
Yes.
Page 55. This is you and your girlfriend. This is this very same year, 2016, as the incident in question. This is you and your girlfriend on your Facebook, all smiles. True?
Yes, true.
56. Let's look at another picture. You and your girlfriend. on a hike smiling. True?
Another
Yes.
hike.
You have that cool backpack on again?
Yes.
Camelback. Is that
Yes,
the brand?
It is.
Page 57. Let's go again. Is this you? Same year of the accident? Hiking?
Yes.
That looks pretty steep.
Trying to get back in shape.
He looks like he's pretty fit. To be, I mean,
Did you
to-
hear
to be-
that?
Yeah.
what did he say? Sorry, I'll go back.
Did you hear that sound right there before? That was the sound of his attorney leaving and the door closing behind her. And maybe I think if you keep playing, you're going to hear her car start and peel out.
If the camera pans around, it's just going to be a chair spinning in place, empty.
yeah.
Page 58. Is this you kayaking?
By the way, going back to that picture, I mean, you know, I'm a big guy with bad knees. I'm a hiker. I do a lot of hill and even mountain hiking in the United Kingdom, and I'm in good shape, and I can't squat down like that. That's especially for someone his age. I think he's 73, maybe. To be able to do that in your early 70s is a good indicator that you have good core strength. You are fairly pliable. You know, you're in very good shape at 73 doing that. In September of 2016, almost a year after the accident.
Same year of the accident? Hiking?
Yes.
That looks pretty steep.
Trying to get back in shape. Yeah.
Page 58. Is this you kayaking after the collision? Just now, we're 7 months after the collision.
Absolutely not.
Is that a kayak above you?
I don't know what it is.
Sir, I asked you about this in your deposition. Is this you kayaking?
No, absolutely not.
Oh boy.
I was trying on helmets to protect my head.
Did you go kayaking after the collision?
I don't remember that, but this is not it. This is in a local
It's a
store.
whole different question. Let's ignore the picture.
It was in the store.
Did you kayak after
He
the
doesn't remember
collision?
if he went kayaking, but he remembers that's in the store.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Before he
Let's
said he didn't know
try to
what
find
that
it.
was.
He didn't know what?
A moment before he said he didn't know what that was. Now he knows it.
You went scuba diving,
Figured
right?
it out quite quick.
What year?
After, I don't even care what year. After the collision.
I did go sometime after, yeah.
You went to an auto show in Germany. Does this sound right?
With my daughter, yes.
Went to a shooting range. Does this sound right?
Yes.
BMX bike show.
The optometry business must be a whole lot better than I mean, I know they make a little bit of money, but geez, we're going to Germany, we're going to the Netherlands, we're going to Machu Picchu.
I wonder if
Man,
he took out like a platinum credit card, which was sort of pre-planned payback for the the lawsuit. So he's
Right. I can see why he needs the money. That's for sure. Yeah.
he's out and about a bit.
Right?
Maybe, not sure.
Scuba diving 4 different occasions. Is that true?
Probably on the same week, on the same trip, probably.
Went on a
Diving is I've not done scuba diving. I know people who do, and you can't be a slouch to go scuba diving. There is a level of fitness you need. You don't see obese people or people that are invalid scuba diving.
boat ride of several canals in the Netherlands. True?
Yes.
You rode bikes,
Yes.
did bus tours,
Yes.
boat tours,
Yes.
auto show we talked about, explored older towns in Central Europe. True?
True. With my daughter, it was wonderful.
Morocco. Is there a word called Marrakech?
Marrakesh.
Yeah. Yes.
What
there
is
a-
that again?
Does the attorney not know what Marrakesh is?
Evidently not.
I mean, he just is there a word? So
Morocco. Is there a word called Marrakech?
Yeah. Yes.
What is that again?
It's a city.
surely he's not playing dumb to get hit. Is there a word called M?
Well, that might be dumb like a fox for the jury.
know.
You know, it's again like think about the jury once again probably has a certain degree of like average everyday citizens for whom these fancy trips and everything might be completely out of reach. And so saying like being the attorney and kind of playing dumb, like I don't even know what this is. Why don't you tell me what it is? Right? You know what I mean? Like
M-A-R-R?
it just yeah.
every European watching this was like, "What the fuck's that?" I'm gonna get to one other picture that was my favorite picture, and then we're gonna fast forward to the end of this, because this is a long victory lap. They just took their time at the end, and they made it a point to, because they probably picked a jury that didn't like the elitist sort of Gwyneth Paltrow's way of doing things. And like you said, that's now backfiring, because he's got quite an elitist way of life with his travel, his retirement travel.
All right. You visited there twice,
I did, Zakia.
explored Jewish markets there,
Yes,
cultural sites, the Dior Museum. Is that cool?
yes, I did.
I would make him answer. Is it cool? Like, tell me about it.
You're under oath, sir. You are under oath. I would like to know. It's like he's planning this lawyer's planning his holiday. He's like, "What about Marrakesh? Is it nice?
Yeah.
Tell me about the Dior Museum." You know a lot about
Make them
travel.
laugh. Make the jury laugh. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to kayak. Is there a reason are you wearing a helmet for a kayak with a kayak right above you?
You know, I'm in a sporting goods store on the west side that has everything in it, and there was a mirror right there. And I was trying on helmets for protection, not for kayaks, just for general protection.
Hallelujah. His memories
Maybe
come
for
back.
skiing at that time. I was looking; they didn't have anything I wanted.
All right,
I was looking for a MIPS helmet.
let's go to 59. You went to a rock concert, is that true? After the collision,
I probably did.
same year. Let's go to 60.
Just say yes, I did.
I think this is when I tried working for the green team recycling again.
That's after the collision.
Yes, that's the team. I tried it.
That's you on the first row on the
Is
right.
the video pulling for you, Sean?
Yes, it's me.
Yeah,
Let's
they're
go to
just not bringing it up.
61.
Oh, and Carlene's there.
Yeah, they're just the
61. Is this your girlfriend at the
in
time?
the courtroom.
And a cool looking waterfall.
I'm just getting an unintelligible
Go to
mess at this point.
62.
There's
Is
one
this
more picture
you
I wanna
after
get
the
to,
collision?
which to me was like
Up
Jesus.
in the ski resorts, or what
Yeah.
is this?
About a year later.
Skiing,
I think I
a
was
year
just
later.
walking up the hills above my house.
Okay, page 63. Is this you skiing after the collision?
It could be. I did go with Robin one time to try it out. I tried it by myself twice.
Okay, 60.
Three
Well,
times.
I'm asserting that this is you skiing after the collision. Do you dispute it?
It was that following year. I don't dispute it.
Okay, 64.
Where is that one?
Is this out? Are you out with your drinking
Oh,
buddies?
this is it. I'm going to jump up to here.
Yes. Looks like it. Looks
You're
like it
the
is.
centerpiece of the whole thing, right? You're the
Oh.
star.
Yeah, I loved having those little kids sitting on my lap and thinking I was a hero.
Page
Yes.
79. Is this you golfing after the event?
Actually, just showing Shaquille how to hit balls. I don't remember golfing. I think I just took him and
Driving range, right?
And it's
Yes.
too narrow.
80. Is this you? Are you in this river cruise, river boat?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my favorite picture. Have you ever gone whitewater rafting?
No.
It's not something I would do with my, well, maybe my parents, my in-laws, but no, probably not. I wouldn't take somebody who was not somewhat fit, because there's a lot of it's a workout to go whitewater rafting, to stay in the boat. You have to be able to swim. Sometimes the water could pull you under for a bit, so you have to be a somewhat strong swimmer. This was like, for me, this is the worst picture of them all. So I wanted to look at this as sort of the point where we switch to the end of the cross-examination, when they just start asking him questions that weren't related to the picture. Where was it?
What a complete disaster for that guy.
Oh, man. Let me find it here.
It does
All right.
answer the question, though. Why didn't Gwyneth Paltrow settle?
Yeah,
Because
Why would
sometimes
she?
you just can't put up with that. Yeah, right.
she must have realized how much of a joke it was.
Do you realize you are the reason your life has been exposed to the world? You, not Miss Paltrow.
I'm realizing that now. Yes.
Do you remember, you've said you've shrunk and lost weight since the incident, right?
Well, I gained. I ballooned.
now when we stand you up, you've lost like 15 pounds and shrunk 3 inches, right?
I had
Yes or no?
I had no idea. I guess yes. I was
Just a few days ago, you said I was 175 to 80 and 5'8". Remember?
I said that not here. Oh, you know what?
In this very trial.
Overruled.
I know why I said that. It's because the VA records weighs you with all your clothes and everything on, and I knew that's what you were reading was what
Clothes
the VA
don't
reported.
give you 3 inches. With me?
Heels do.
Did you have heels on?
No, not at all.
All right.
Stupid.
You
I feel
even
bad
called
for the
yourself pudgy at the
No.
time, that you were pudgy. Do you remember that word?
What
Do you
time?
dispute using the pudgy?
What time frame?
The time when I deposed you, you said you were pudgy.
Okay, that's kind of a fun term. Yeah,
Do you dispute it?
I don't.
What does that word mean?
I never thought about it. Just sort of got a little more roundish, I guess. Haven't defined that before.
Did I hear you say you didn't like to be ignored? Don't ignore me. Are those the words you used?
Just now?
Just 2 minutes ago.
I probably did say that.
Let's go to page 170 of your deposition and ask that it be published and brought up.
We'll call this the end.
You have your
We'll see what this
transcript
is
right
and then
there.
we'll
Can
wrap
you-
it, because I think it's pretty categorical.
Your Honor,
at this
may I
stage.
do that? It hasn't worked in the past. And
So I'm under 32, you can use the deposition, you can certainly read it into the record, but we don't need to.
all right,
Show it.
let's go to page 170. And I'll assist you if you want me to.
I don't even know where 17. I don't see. I mean,
Can I
have
approach
exhibits.
or-
Oh, it's another whole other. Can I close exhibits?
The 3 piles of paper there, one of those.
At this point, the jury's looking at their watch,
Yeah.
just waiting so they can give their
Yeah.
innocent
Our
verdict
verdict's
or
going to
their-
take 15 seconds. So can we please get this over with? Yeah.
How long did they? Because I'm sure we all know Gwyneth Paltrow was awarded the dollar.
Oh, she was? I didn't even know that. No.
Yeah.
We're starting.
I'm looking that up.
She
After
countersued him for $1 million, right?
It was $1.
Oh, I
You
see.
see, I'm going to start reading at line 12.
Does he have to pick up her? Does he have to pick up her attorney's fees?
I
'Cause
think
should.
he might. I don't know. if
This
that's
lady
in all states,
is on
but I
my
read that he
left. Well, let's go back for a little. Remember, I said I want to know what's going on in the 10 seconds before the impact. Do you remember?
I do remember that, but is it written here? I don't know.
Yes, that's my question on page 169.
Is he
And
trying
then
to
on
find out whether he
170,
should or shouldn't remember it
you
based on
said.
what he
And then I remember there's this lady on my left that was kind of tentative. So I deliberately, in fact, I think I said passing on your right. Pretty sure I did. I usually do. Passing on your right. And then, it was just easy. It was just as easy, smooth glide. And there were not a whole lot of people. And what I'm not, I don't want to be interrupted right now, please. Page 170. And when I got to that point, I could see the bottom of the hill. I could see that the trees came in a little bit from the right, it seems like. And then the whole slope was opened up. There were a few occasional people out there, but I could see all the way to the bottom. There were nobody. And then this, and nobody could have passed on my left except the gal I had just passed. So that gal I was really conscious of because I still worried about her. And so as I went past her, I went inches per second past her. I just remember it took forever for me to get past her. And there were skis. And when they disappeared out of my vision, that's the time I heard this. So that's the time I heard this saw, indicating scream, and then bang, it happened. It was about 1.5 seconds, and it just hit me right in the back. All right. So do you recall that in the seconds before the collision, you were worried about the person to your left? Do you recall that?
I gave her
Sean, the
plenty of
video's
space.
not playing
She
correctly for me.
waited
I
in
can't
line
make out
for
what's
the
being
off-key
said.
switch.
But you were with inches of her.
I'll try to bring it. Can you hear it?
It started like skipping or something. I couldn't really make it out anymore.
Let me take it off and put it back on because this seems like an interesting point too. Let me put it back on. Stop screen. Present.
I couldn't tell what point he was going for.
That's why I was quite interested to see what he was driving at. So where are you up to speed on with that? Because
I think this might be an internet connection issue for me, to be honest.
Okay. Are you seeing this now?
Yeah, it's coming up.
So just whilst we have you before, we're going to wrap up in a bit. So I think he's driving at the point that he's going around somebody and he's paying attention to that person before he hears the scream, which invariably is Gwyneth Paltrow. And then at that point, and that's sort of where we left off.
Person to your left. Do you recall that?
I gave her plenty of space because she seemed like a movie.
Sean, I can't understand it.
We're gonna have to wrap. Maybe we just wrap it now. What we'll do. So with this, I think we would agree that it's a pretty slam dunk. You know, the result anyway came across, but that was a fascinating case, and I wanted to find something that we could just sort of have fun watching and kind of get back on the horse again. I think we lost Dixon. Well, listen, to anybody who's watched this far, this is a well rehearsed finish. Oh, do we have Dixon back? I'll remove Dixon out of there. So we're a bit rusty, as you can tell. A well-rehearsed finish, exactly as I would expect this first time back since November will go. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have watched this, and I will catch you all soon. Take care.